All right, Democratic hopeful Dean Phillips yesterday finished look at this. He got 20% of the Democrats voting in the New Hampshire primary yesterday. And he said this afterwards.
We decided 2 weeks before the October 27 deadline to come up to Concord, and we just earned 20% tonight, and no one knew who you were 10 weeks ago. This country deserves options. This country should not have coronations, and I know the exhausted majority of this country, center-right and center-left Americans, I know they'd much rather see a Nikki Haley-Dean Phillips matchup this November, and we're going to try to get that done.
Okay, that was last night. Now live here in New Hampshire, Democratic presidential candidate, Congressman Dean Phillips, also a David Duchovny lookalike. Congressman, it's great to have you.
Great to be with you, Steve.
You know, at the White House this morning, they're probably going, wait a minute, why didn't we do New Hampshire again? That guy got 20%.
I've been in business most of my life, Steve. I wish I could tell you about a success where we start from zero and had 20% market share in 10 weeks.
No kidding.
I mean, that's what this is about. And, you know, as I said for many weeks before this, I respect Joe Biden, but even those numbers last night, and not those of a strong incumbent. And as you pointed out earlier in your show today, the lowest approval numbers in measurable history.
Right.
And I'm trying to wake up my party to what is an impending disaster.
Yeah, no kidding. In our voter analysis, two interesting statistics. One of them, and these are just Democrats. Let's see, is Joe Biden too old? 53% of Democrats say no, but 47% say, yeah, he's too old. And with voters under 45, and these are Democrats, people who requested a Democratic ballot, Joe got 43% of the age 45 or under, and you got about 30%. That's a lot. And there you can see the numbers right there. You know, this should be setting off a warning light at the White House, but then again, they're all in. They're heading to November.
Steve, I've been saying for a year, you know, the president could have cemented his legacy, done what he essentially promised, which is to serve a term and be a bridge. He's acknowledged there are 50 Democrats that could win this, that should win this. And the truth is that I think Joe Biden is the only person that Donald Trump can beat and reverse as well. And we are facing a circumstance where most of this country, 70%, wants neither of these people. I would imagine, like I said last night at my rally, I think most of this country would rather see a Nikki Haley versus Dean Phillips matchup, and the country would be better off.
Yeah. Well, one of the key issues, I know we did voter analysis on abortion within the Democratic Party, and that is, you know, 97% say abortion should be available if not in most circumstances. With Republican voters, they did break down according to their number one priority, and number one in the state of New Hampshire was immigration. And we see what's going on in our southern border, and I don't get how the White House watches those images. You got a TV, you've seen them. It's like, how's that a good thing?
Well, Steve, I have more than a TV. I've been there twice. I think it's a responsibility of elected officials to not just make decisions from screens, but to go to the place where the crisis is. In this case, I've been to the southern border twice. Every single voter I'm speaking with around the country, and I bet every other candidate would say the same thing: costs and chaos. Life is unaffordable, and people are fearful of the chaos at our border, around the world. And unfortunately, I do not see the potential of either of these men dealing with it in the way that our country really needs. And the crisis at the border is solvable. I know that thoughtful Republicans want thoughtful immigration policy, and I know Democrats want border security. So we should be asking a question: what the heck is going on?
You know, I'm glad you mentioned the last part, because you mentioned thoughtful Republicans. Because even though it was a Trump event here in Rochester, New Hampshire, a couple of days ago, you went to the Trump event and you talked to a bunch of Republicans.
I did, Steve. That's my responsibility. And I'm sick of this political culture that only rewards dividers. You know, I flipped a district that had been Republican for 60 years in 2018. I didn't do so by just pandering to Democrats. I invited independents and Republicans. I'm the second most bipartisan member of Congress for a reason. I have great friendships with both sides of the aisle. Any leader of the free world should show up and the other side's rally and say hello and greet people. And I got to tell you, I spoke with 50. They were the most hospitable, thoughtful, kind people I've interacted with in a long time. Yesterday at the polls, I said hello to everybody holding signs: Biden signs, Williamson signs, my signs, Trump signs, Haley signs. People were so decent. And I would call it angertainment, Steve. Angertainment would have us believe we are so much more divided than we are. And I just ask people to don't turn off maybe this show right now, but turn off your TV sometime. Go out into the country, meet people, give some high fives, handshakes, and hugs, and let's get our act back together. I don't think these two men are the ones to do it. It's time for a new generation. That's my proposition. And I do think the country is ready for it. I just think that political duopoly is preventing what most Americans want.
Don't turn off the TV at all. You might be a Nielsen home, and we need the ratings. All right.
Steve, thank you.
A real pleasure. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Hey, thank you so much.
Right.
Here we go.
Here we go. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.